The 1955 24 Hours of Le Mans stands as the darkest day in the history of motorsport. What began as a celebration of endurance and engineering quickly descended into catastrophe, with consequences that would reshape racing safety standards for decades. Held on June 11th and 12th, the race attracted over 300,000 spectators to the Circuit de la Sarthe. At the heart of the competition were the most advanced machines of their time. Mercedes-Benz had entered the 300 SLR, a technological marvel powered by a 3.0-liter straight-eight engine derived from their Grand Prix car, producing over 300 horsepower. The car featured a lightweight magnesium alloy body, chosen to reduce weight and improve performance, though at the cost of increased flammability. Jaguar countered with the D-Type, boasting a sleek aerodynamic profile, a monocoque chassis, and cutting-edge disc brakes, still a novelty in racing. The field also included teams from Ferrari, Aston Martin, Talbot, Maserati, and privateer entries, creating one of the most competitive grids Le Mans had ever seen. Drivers like Juan Manuel Fangio, Stirling Moss, Mike Hawthorne, and Pierre Levay were all taking part, some of the finest names of the era. By the late afternoon, the race had developed into a close fight between Mercedes and Jaguar. At around 6:26 p.m., on the main straight in front of the grandstands, a chain of events was set in motion that would have devastating consequences. Mike Hawthorne, who was leading the race in his Jaguar D-Type, suddenly slowed down to enter the pits. Lance Macklin, in an Austin Healey 100S just behind him, reacted instinctively by swerving to the left to avoid collision. This maneuver placed Macklin directly in the path of Pierre Levay's Mercedes, which was approaching at over 200 kilometers per hour. Levay had no time to avoid the obstacle. His car's front right wheel made contact with the rear of the Austin Healey, launching the Mercedes into the air. The car struck an earthen embankment and disintegrated midair. The front axle, bonnet, and engine block flew into the crowd with lethal force. The magnesium body exploded into flames as it landed. The fire was made worse by the use of water-based extinguishers, which reacted violently with the burning metal. Pierre Levay was killed instantly, but the real horror was in the stands. Over 80 spectators were killed on impact or burned alive. More than 120 others were injured. The images were harrowing. Medical staff and emergency responders were quickly overwhelmed, and the scene was one of mass chaos and confusion. Despite the scale of the disaster, the race was not stopped. French authorities, fearing panic and congestion on local roads, ordered the event to continue. Mercedes-Benz, shaken by the tragedy and under pressure from its board in Stuttgart, made a fateful decision. At midnight, they instructed their remaining cars, driven by Fangio and Moss, to withdraw from the race in quiet protest. It would be the company's last appearance in circuit racing for more than 30 years. The design of the track contributed significantly to the tragedy. The pit straight lacked proper separation between the racing line and pit lane. There were no barriers, no fencing, no catch fencing between the track and the grandstands. Spectators stood behind a low embankment, unprotected from debris or collision. The cars of the 1950s had become faster, lighter, and more powerful, but track safety had not evolved to match them. In the aftermath, the world reacted with outrage and grief. Switzerland imposed an outright ban on circuit racing that remained in place for over 60 years. France, Germany, and Spain suspended motorsport events temporarily. The FIA and race organizers were forced to reconsider the role of safety in both car design and circuit layout. The tragedy at Le Mans became a turning point. New safety measures were introduced in subsequent years, including stronger barriers, improved pit lane procedures, better crowd protection, and more rigorous car inspections. Magnesium was banned in car bodywork. Helmets, seatbelts, and fireproof suits would eventually become standard. Today, the 1955 Le Mans disaster is remembered not just for its death toll, but for what it revealed: the gap between technological advancement and safety regulation. It forced the motorsport world to confront the cost of unchecked speed, and it marked the beginning of a long journey toward prioritizing human life on and around the track. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you found this story important, Leave a comment below and share the video. There's much more history to explore. See you in the next episode. The 1950